Welcome back to Mr. Dodson Teaches. Today we're going to be doing circle time. Now I don't mean circle time like where we sit on the floor and we all share out our feelings, but we're actually going to be drawing circles. So if it sounds easy, drawing circles like this, well, it should sound easy. So today, what you're going to need is you're going to need something to draw with. Okay, get your drawing pad, paper, something, and get your drawing tools. But I also recommend getting more than one thing. All right, so maybe you want some crayons or markers or colored pencils, whatever it is that you're wanting to draw with. And again, I recommend more than one thing. Now, if drawing circles is something that you're worried about it or you're wanting to get like everything perfect, you might also want to get a stencil or something. So we've got our supplies here. I've got my colored pencils. We've got something to draw with, something to draw on. And again, if you need something, get you a stencil, something to trace the outside of, or even trace the inside of. Those are great options for what we're going to do today. Now I'm going to be using this cap to trace the outside of later. So if you've got your tools, we are ready to go. We got a blank slate, so drawing circles should be pretty easy. Now I'm going to start with just that smooth, constant movement. I'm not even holding a drawing tool right now, just smooth, constant movement in a circular shape, okay? Choose your drawing tool. I'm going to start with a crayon, all right? I also like a lot of my crayons to be smaller. I tend to break mine in half. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. This pincher grip that I'm using is really common. Now I'm going to start with some smaller circles here, just wherever you want on your paper. I'm clustering mine together, but take your time. It doesn't have to be something that we rush. And look, I'm even starting to draw smaller and smaller, or as small as I can with this crayon. Try different sizes of circles. In this case, I'm just going to make a circle out of circles. I'm going to go around, make them in different sizes, make them in increasing sizes. So they got smaller. Now I'm going to draw bigger circles. So just take your time, around and around, round and around. Take your circles, go around and around and around. And again, we're focusing on that smooth, constant movement. Notice that I keep looping. I go around and around. Sometimes I do it until I'm happy with the shape of the circle. You know, the first one I draw might look more like an oval. You can do one where you just go around once and connect. That's fine. I like to do that constant movement and just keep making that shape. Yes, you're going to have that like extra thickness around the lines from where you're looping over and over again. That's fine. I'm going to switch up and do one big circle now. Notice now it's not just my fingers that are moving, it's my whole arm. It's not my fingers or just my wrist. The whole arm is having to make this long, smooth movement around and around. Also try drawing with different pressures. You notice that one started out pretty light and then got darker. If you didn't catch it, rewind about 10 seconds. I'm going to switch to a different tool, maybe even a different color. Also notice as I do this, I'm starting to touch other circles. I'm getting this connection to other things on my paper, and they're even overlapping. That's okay. It should be a good thing that we're overlapping. That becomes a part of some of our other art concepts that we talk about, and creating depth and giving variety to our drawing. So take your time, work around with those different shapes. We're still drawing all the same circles. I mean, I say different shapes. But again, smooth, constant movement. That's our main thing, is we're just going to be doing smooth, constant movement. Notice a lot of people draw like this. They do those little short, scratchy marks. We're not doing that. No. Smooth, constant movements. Come over here, add a circle over here. And notice I tend to start a little bit lighter when I'm pressing down on my circles. And then I press down harder as I go. I'm going to keep adding a few more. Maybe I will switch up my tool. Yeah, I'm going to switch over to a colored pencil for right now. Now, this is how most people hold their pencil. We call this a pincher grip a lot of times when you're learning to do it in school. So, notes on a pincher grip. Pincher grip is how we usually write, but this, where I open my hand and lay it flat, this side grip, or sometimes I'll call it a knife grip, This side grip is another way to hold our drawing tool. Now, a lot of times our teachers don't want us to use the side grip, especially when we're learning to write, okay? But when we're drawing, making art, using this side grip or knife grip, and you notice sometimes I'll even put my finger out along mine, but usually I'll hold it sideways like this. So this side grip is just another way to use our drawing tools. Now, again, the pincher grip that we normally will hold a pencil with is good for writing or drawing very small things. The side grip is really good for drawing bigger shapes and shading. We'll come back to those later. Now, I'm going to switch over to this marker to show you a difference in line quality. I'm still drawing circles. I'm still doing those long, smooth movements. And with the marker, it's a little bit easier to see where I'm overlapping my lines when I come back around and make that extra pass on my circle. But that pincher grip helps me draw these little fine circles, these little bitty dot ones. But if I switch it up, oh, maybe not yet. I'll keep doing this. One more with that pincher grip. But if I switch it up to that side grip and I use more of the side of the marker instead of the very tip top of it, using the side of it, I can get a wider line off of my drawing tool. So again, that side, not the very tip top, is going to help me make these wider lines to draw with. So again, pincher grip uses the very tip top. It's good for drawing little tiny things. It's also good for helping us write. You got a lot more control with a pincher grip. The side grip gives us the side edge of the tool. We can make bigger lines, we can do shading, and also it helps us with those big movements. So many things that we can do with all of our drawing tools. Now I'm going to switch it back up. I'm going back to a colored pencil. For some reason, I think I'm just going to add some smaller details there. Go ahead and start adding in a bigger circle. It's hard to see a little bit. You know, I've got a lighter blue and I'm not pressing down as hard with it. But again, smooth, constant movement. That's our main thing that we're focused on with this exercise. It's just smooth, constant movement. That's one of the great things about circles. It's a constant edge. It's the same shape. It goes all around. There's no corners, no turns. Now, quick little note about some of our drawing tools. You might notice, like I said before, a lot of my crayons are shorter and I've taken the wrapper off of them. This is on purpose. I like to use my crayons that are shorter because there's also these crayons that they're triangular. I really like these. These are actually recommended by an occupational therapist because of the 3 sides that they have. Those 3 sides actually force us to hold it with that pincher grip. One finger goes on each side. So that therapist helped me and so that I could help my students. These are great. I highly recommend them because they help with that pincher grip. So if you're having trouble learning to write or hold the pencil that right way, you can do that, or you can snap your crayons in half. And because it's shorter, you're naturally going to grab it like that. When it's short, like because it's so short, it's harder to hold it from the side. Like I can't hold it like this. I can't hold it like that as well. With a shorter crayon, you tend to naturally hold it with that pincher grip. So if you as a student or you as a parent are noticing that it's hard to do this pincher grip that helps us with holding our pencil for writing and doing fine details, try either snapping your crayons in half, or you can try and find those crayons that have the triangular shape. So here I am, just using that shape, but also when you take the wrapper off your crayons, you can use the whole side of the crayon for coloring and shading. So here you'll notice that like you can see more of that orange going down on the paper faster. I was just coloring around the outer edges. I think I'm just going to color over everything right now and make a real big circle using the side of my crayon. I'm not using the tip top of it. I'm pressing the whole side down onto the paper. And in this one, I'm making much smaller turns so that I'm making a smaller circle with my broken crayon. Just something to try. You can go back, switch up to that pincher grip, press down. So just think about how you want to use your tools. You can even do the same thing with a broken crayon. It is a little bit harder to hold because it is a smaller one, But if you've got a whole size crayon, you can hold them like this too to make your shapes. Now, you can also get a stencil. I brought this up earlier. This cap that I've got, you can take this to trace it. So tracing is a skill all in its own. A lot of people forget that. Holding down the top and tracing around the edge over and over again and making sure that that hand's holding it down really hard so that it doesn't slide all over the place. That's super important, that you need to hold that hand down and press down so that the object you're tracing doesn't move. Hopefully, when you're done, you end up with a shape from tracing around the edge. Now, if tracing around the outside is too hard, I recommend finding something that's empty in the middle so that you can trace the inside of it, not the outside. And again, if you're a parent or student that notices it's really hard to hold something in place and trace the outside of it, try getting something that's empty in the middle so that you can easily trace the inside of it, because the inside is going to help hold your crayon or marker or whatever in place. Now, with this one, I was able to trace around the inside. That one, I traced around the outside. Either way, using a stencil or something to trace is a great way to practice. So remember, big things to focus on: continuous movement. Big, long, smooth lines, not those little short, scratchy ones. Long, continuous lines. That's one of the big things we want to go for. Remember your pincher grip or your side grip. And you can do that with pretty much all of your tools. Colored pencils, you can use that pincher grip, you can use that side grip. You can do the same thing with markers and crayons. That'll be fine. And also remember to try it with different tools. One of the things to consider, if you're using crayons, snap them in half. It'll make them easier to hold. Also take off those wrappers, or if you've got the time and resources to look up these triangular crayons, they're a great resource too. So hopefully you've had a lot of fun drawing these circles. Remember to try them in different sizes too. Go from small to big or really big. Take up more of your paper. We could have filled up this whole paper today with circles. This is a great practice. It's very calming to be able to draw circles over and over and over again. Just that constant movement of your tool will also help calm you down. It's very centering to do this activity. So hopefully this is something that you come back to. It's also a great way to warm up. If you can't think of an idea of something to draw, just fill up your paper with simple shapes like circles. I hope you had fun today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, by all means, watch it again, or just keep filling up pieces of paper with circles and enjoy what you do. Have fun. Bye.